like to introduce myself. I am Mary Beth Lynch, and I am the acting chair this evening. I am here. I might not look like the chair. Ron Rosen was the chairperson up until the last couple days, and he has resigned from that position. And so I want to thank Ron for the 22 years of service he offered to us in town. So as such, I'm stepping in, and I am a pinch hitter here. So if I make any mistakes, please forgive me, as this is a new position for me. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lisa Cosette.
Here.
All right, Vivian. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Peter Mulcahy.
Here.
Paul George.
Yeah.
We have Paul George. Paul George. And Patrick Fulton.
Here.
Thank you, Patrick. Patrick is standing in. He's our alternate who will be participating in the meeting this evening. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bernie Cahill.
Present.
Adis Rudis.
Here.
And Christopher Polo.
Here.
Good evening, everyone. This is an open meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and it's being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus, the order materials for this meeting allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This will feature public comment if needed. For this meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals is convened by Google Hangout. To participate in this public comment, the comment section of this meeting, please dial 318-485-8 and enter the following PIN, 426-836-075#. Please mute your device until the chair of the zoning board addresses your agenda item or opens the comments. For items with public comments, we ask that the members that after the chair will forward public comment as follows. The chair will ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify themselves by name. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford up to 3 minutes for any comment. For any response, please wait until the chair to you and state your name for speaking. If members wish to engage with other members, please do so through the chair by carefully identifying yourself. Finally, each vote is taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Moving right on to our agenda. Well, before we start on the agenda, we have some housekeeping we need to conduct. We've got some bills to Telegram and Gazette for legal notices, July 27th, August 11th, and August 24th in the amounts of $672, $154, and $616. We also have a bill from WB Mason for office supplies for $31.53. Can I please get a motion to approve the bills set forth?
Approve.
Second.
Second? All in favor? Lisa Cosette?
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy?
Aye.
Paul George?
Aye.
Patrick Fullen?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's get this public hearing started. Our first agenda item is, it's continued from our July 27th meeting, and it's to hear the administrative appeal for 257 Main Street. And this is, we just received a request for a continuance on this hearing. So can I get a motion to continue, please?
Move to continue.
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Can I get a second? All in favor, Lisa
Second.
Grosset?
Mary
Aye.
Beth, can you make it a
George?
specific, excuse me, sorry, thanks. Can you make it a continuation to a date certain, please? Which would be, I believe, October 26th is the next meeting?
Correct.
We say the 13th? I apologize. Can I just confirm that the next date of our meeting is indeed October 13th? Can someone check me on
20
that?
26. Yeah.
Can I ask motion to continue to October 26th, please?
I move to
Someone out
continue
there?
the
Motion
hearing
to
until
continue the
October
hearing.
26th.
All in favor? Lisa? Sorry.
Aye. Aye. Yeah, we have some delay.
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next on the agenda is to hear, excuse me for a second, I have to get my other paper.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a
Yes.
question before we get started? I was
Please
wondering
do.
if ADIS would, before each hearing, post what is going to be heard for people who are viewing this online, so they could actually follow along with us? If that's possible?
Sure. Sure, I can post up like the agenda is what you mean, Paul?
The agenda and also any schematics that they have or drawings or anything like that, just so people are aware of what's going on.
Sure.
Plot
I can
plan
do
would
that.
be great.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything that's helpful in us making good decisions. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will do that.
Hearing to hear the appeal of Christopher Watson, 36 Firebeck Ave, Shrewsbury, Mass, for a special permit to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaw under section 4B to demolish an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling upon property located at 35 Phillips Ave.
Mary Beth. On my agenda, I got 22 Carter Road for the filed agenda.
Okay. I apologize. I apologize, everyone. Let me start again. Our first hearing is hear the appeal of Stephen Longton, 22 Carter Road, Shrewsbury, Mass, for an amendment to a variance to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 7, table 2, to convert a prior approved storage structure to a heated pool house upon property located at 22 Carter Road in the rural A district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 05, Plot 0050051. Mr. Longton, are you with us this evening?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Terrific. Thank you, zoning board members, and good evening. I was before you about 3 years ago for a variance to build a storage structure which is 16 by 25 feet in diameter. And at that time, we were granted a zoning variance due to a side yard setback to build within 10 feet of the boundary. 3 years later, we're looking now to expand the use to add a water source and heat to that structure.
Okay. I apologize. I have a little bit of a delay on my end. Is there anything else?
I'm just looking for permission to add the water source, electricity, and heat.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody? Can I open this to the public, or Bernie, is that a yes?
Mary Beth, I think I would go down the line of members and ask if they have any opinion one at a time, and then go to the public.
Okay. Lisa, can I get your commentary, please? Questions?
Sure. I don't have any questions at the time. I'm very interested in hearing from abutters. Adding this additional use, I believe, will have an effect on noise and nuisance as a pool house as opposed to a shed. So I'm very interested in hearing the neighbors' opinion if they are here.
Thank you. Peter, do you have any comments, questions?
Yeah, so directed to Mr. Longton, if you could just describe how the structure is used now and how it'll be used differently when you add the electricity and the heat and the water source. And apologies for my cat.
Quite all right.
Okay.
So the structure was built it's built on a slope. So we took advantage of the natural topography and built a lot of storage underneath the first floor of the structure. So we found that a lot of the storage we thought we needed is actually being handled in the basement level. So I'd like to be able to add some electricity there, have some lighting, and also have a water source so that it's probably about 20 feet from the pool area, so that it's an additional bathroom for functions, and so be it. Now the water would be running, all utilities would run from the primary residence into the structure and then back into the house.
Okay. So outdoor living room kind of thing, as opposed to no one's going to live in there or anything like that.
Correct. That is correct.
I think that's pretty much all I had for questions.
Thank you. Mr. George, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had a schematic of what the inside of that structure looks like, if it's divided up into rooms.
All I have is a drawing that was produced, which shows a very small bathroom toilet facility. Everything else, it's open otherwise.
So it's wide open?
Yes.
Okay.
Patrick Follen, do we have any comments or questions?
No, not at this time, no.
All right. Is there anybody?
Madam Chair, I have one more question. Sorry.
Yes, please.
Are you planning on adding any heat? Is it just electrical outlets and bathroom?
I do intend to add heat because we're introducing the water component, so
Okay.
I thought a mini split would be appropriate.
In the entire structure or just in the bathroom area, which will be enclosed?
Probably the entire
Okay.
structure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there's our. Can everybody see that? Great. Anyone else with comments from the board? I'm going to take that as a no, since we did go through everyone. If there's anyone wishes to be heard on this matter, please state your name and address. There being no public comments.
Can I ask one more question, please?
Sure, Paul.
I think you stated that there's 2 levels in that shed or that building?
Correct.
And what's on the first level and what's on the second level?
So the first level, the basement level it's sort of underground, but
Yeah.
opens up to a lower tiered backyard. So the lawnmowers and things like that go in there, the kids' bikes. And then the first floor level, the access level is just an open room.
Okay. Thank you.
One more question, Madam Chair.
Certainly, Peter?
And just to confirm, you said no exterior modifications at all? No, like new windows or, dormers or anything like that? It's just interior work?
Correct. Although a mini split would be exterior work. Because it would be wall mounted.
I see. Okay.
Me again, Madam Chair. One more question. So to me, this is just extra living space. So Mr. Cahill and Mr. Rudis, are you comfortable with the way this would be worded? Is worded? From your comment letter, it looks to be so.
Yeah, it's, I
Alright.
see it being fine as it is stated in the comment letter. The only thing that the building department had requested was if the applicant were to move forward with the building permit to provide a more accurate floor plan with dimensioning, so that way we know the size of the bathroom and such.
Okay. And as far as the hardship, we heard the hardship when the original shed was before us, and we granted that variance. So, okay, thank you.
I would just comment, Mr. Longton, that your shed or your barn is beautiful and very, very nicely done. And I think it's very much in keeping with the neighborhood. So I compliment you on the design aspects of it. It's very
Thank you.
nice. Is there anyone in the public to be heard? Okay. All right, board, can I get a whatever it's called?
Paul, would you like to make all the motions this evening, and I'll second?
Well, you can make the motions, Lisa, if you'd like.
I don't want to, but I will if you don't want to.
Go right ahead, Lisa.
Okay, that's what I get for making the suggestion. Okay, so I make a motion to approve the variance for 22 Carter Road.
Can I get a second, please? All
Second.
in favor? Lisa?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy?
Aye.
Patrick Fullen?
Aye.
Mary Beth Lynch? Aye. So moved. Wonderful. All right, next on our agenda, Adis,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
60 Camelot Drive would be the next one. Is that correct? I just want to be sure I'm okay. Wonderful. Give me a second. All right. Next up is to hear the appeal of Jeffrey M. Fuller, 60 Camelot Drive, Shrewsbury, Mass, for a special permit to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 7B to remove and replace a non-conforming deck upon property located at 60 Camelot Drive in the rural A district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 06, plot 092000. Mr. Fuller, are you with us this evening?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. Could you give us a little bit of a story on what you intend on doing?
Yes, I currently have a deck in the back of my house. I believe it is 12 by 13. I know you have the exact numbers. I would like to replace it with a newer, nicer deck. The newer deck would be larger, but it would not move closer to the end line. My understanding is the only issue that we had when we applied for the permit was the 50-foot setback to the rear of the property. The newer deck that I would like to build would not move any closer to that line. It would be larger, but not in that direction.
So closer to a side yard, is that correct?
Yes, and there's no issue at all on the side as far as meeting the zoning laws. So one of the questions, if somebody can help me on this one, it is a I believe the term is what, pre-existing non-conforming structure. Can anybody tell me when that became a pre-existing non-conforming structure? In other words, the house, when I bought the house, the deck was there. The house itself is approximately 50 feet from the end line. So according to that, I could only have an 8.5-inch deck. So at what point did my deck, no longer satisfy the rules? Was Pulte allowed to build it anyway? Or did the rules change?
I think it's when the zoning changed of a deck became part of the building.
Okay. And I thought that was the case, but I wasn't 100% sure. So in a sense, I think that's my hardship, that the rules changed to a house that I bought. As far as, I'm trying to go through the 4 things in section 5 here in the letter that you sent me. So I think that's my hardship, is that I have a situation where, according to 50-foot setback, I can't ever do anything.
To clarify, Madam Chair, is this a variance or a special permit?
This is-
It's a special permit, Peter. Good
So
question.
we don't
So,
need a hardship for a special permit. It's just whether it will
Correct.
cause additional
Okay,
nuisance,
all right.
vibration, noise, anything like that. So lower
Okay,
bar.
I apologize. So in that sense, I guess I have to address the 50-foot setback. I mean, I'm not sure in that sense. I was looking at and I admit, maybe I don't know the difference between variance and special permit. But
so Mr. Fuller,
yes, sir.
Mr. Fuller, hi, I'm Bernie Kale, I'm the town planner. So what pretty much the rear yard setback is not changing under your proposal. It's 38 feet as it exists today with the existing deck, and it will be the same 38 feet approximately.
It will not, yes, it won't get any closer.
So in the side yard setbacks, even with the expansion towards the sides, it's not even outside the footprint of the house, so that it doesn't even approach the side yard setbacks.
Correct.
It is a special permit simply because, excuse me, it's pre-existing non-conforming and requires demolition or reconstruction, or changes to the structure requires a special permit. It's as simple as that.
So you've done a good job.
Okay. So all the pictures I sent you and the I don't know if you got that, and the letter of approval for my neighbor, that was all.
All
Yeah.
helpful.
We got all that and we appreciate that. And I think that you will be one of many people that will be coming in front of us on the street that you live in. So or live on. So thank you for, in other words, decks on the houses of your house's age are all going to start to fail at one point or another. So we will.
For what it's worth, I don't think, I may be the only person in the neighborhood who has this issue. In other words, if you look at the one of the things I had to get, which was the tax plan.
Mhm.
If you look at the map, the tax plan map, and I did not know this at the time, but I think I have the smallest lot in this area. And certainly from front to back, it's about 145, 146 feet. If you look at it at some point, almost everybody's 160.
Right.
So I can't guarantee I'm the only person, but there's a reasonable chance there aren't that many people who have this issue.
Right.
So you might not get as many people from the area as as you just said. I don't know, but maybe I'm just the first one.
Well, thank you for coming in front of us and being very prepared. We definitely appreciate that.
Mhm.
That's very, very important to us. Lisa, do we have any comments, questions?
I do not. I'm fine. No
Wonderful.
questions.
Peter Mulcahy, any questions, comments?
Only question was, I didn't see a certified plot plan showing what the new deck will look like, and I'm just curious if I
think
just
he
overlooked
got
that.
up earlier, but I could be mistaken. He put up something. I thought that was a certified plot plan.
There is but maybe it's so yeah, maybe we should bring that up. There is an updated plot plan with drawings in it, but not stamped by a land surveyor.
Right. Yeah. So it's a hand-drawn one. So normally we require one that's by a surveyor and is stamped. But pending that, I don't have any other issues.
Paul, do we have any comments, questions?
I was just wondering if a certified plot plan is required. That's the only question I have.
I'm wondering that too.
Ernie, can you address that, please?
Could you explain the interactions you've had with Mr. Fuller, please?
Yeah, so I had presented to Mr. Fuller the plot plan that we had on file from the town office and said that this is a plot plan that we had on file and he could use, but I recommend getting a certified plot plan, and that was as far as that sort of went. But of course I saw the drawings of the distances on there for the updated plot plan, so I did not question that because it seemed like they were drawn more or less from an architect, but that is, that's my opinion. That is not what is actually before us.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yep.
Along those lines. Mr. Fuller, will any of the existing footings be used in the reconstruction?
No.
of the deck? Okay.
The contractor suggested I put in, they're a little bit larger. He just suggested I do that, go with something that's a little bit larger, so that would be a little sturdier. And given that the price wasn't much more, it seemed reasonable to me.
Mhm.
So I think he's gonna replace the footings that are there with. I don't remember the exact measurements in terms of 2x4s versus 2x6s or whatever, but he was gonna put in larger ones.
Question for town planners. When this deck is inspected, is the plot plan used to pass inspection?
Correct. So good question, Lisa. So a certified plot plan will be required from the building department.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that ZBA cannot accept a verbal request for a waiver this evening.
Mm-hmm.
I would note that we can write the decision in such a way that the finding says the rear yard setback would remain 38, not more than 38.7 feet from the rear property line. So whatever the plan comes, whatever the certified plan would be and otherwise would have to abide by that decision, right? So by the decision. So whatever it looks like, it would still have to be 38.7. So if the board's concerned about covering themselves, that's one way to do it, certainly, is that the board could make a finding that it shall not be more than that. Or we could even condition it if the board was, if that would make you comfortable approving a verbal waiver.
Yeah, so I'm in favor of that, but Mr. Fuller, you're aware that you would have to have a certified plot plan regardless. You may not need one for this evening, but you will need one to have the new deck inspected.
So can I tell my contractor to start? I'm confused.
So you need a certified plot plan from a land surveyor or a civil engineer to be submitted. That does not necessarily mean for this evening. It means for your building permit application when your contractor pulls a permit with the building department. This evening, you may verbally request a waiver to not submit a certified plot plan and the board can vote on that.
I think the point
Well,
that
I think-
the beginning last
You're
year
asking
is
if
that
I
normally,
can verbally request a waiver of that?
For this evening, for the zoning board of appeals application, not for building, not
I
for the
think
building department.
the piece that I think is unclear is that normally we require a certified plot plan be submitted to the zoning board. And it sounds like maybe there was some misunderstanding between IDIS and you in terms of what is normally required. And so what the planner, I think, is saying is you can request a waiver now and we'll probably grant it. But
Right.
you'll need one either way for the building department.
Correct. Thank you, Peter.
So my sense is I request a waiver. You'll say, yes, I can proceed to the next step, which is you will allow me to go get a certified plot plan, and then I can start building. If I get a certified plot plan.
We have to vote first, but yeah.
Your vote passed.
So yes, if the vote passes, we'll go with that assumption. I'm gonna assume yes. I mean, because if the vote doesn't pass, I'm, burning down my deck. If the vote doesn't pass, I don't know what happens, but if the vote passes, then I have to go get someone do a certified plot plan.
Absolutely.
And then in the middle of winter, tell the people, my contractor, to pick up his material and go home and come back in the spring.
So you,
Plot plans only take a day or.
yeah, you'll be
Are you
able to
aware of
get,
that? Okay.
It should not be that complicated.
Well, everything else in this process is, so I'm not sure that will be easy, but okay. So I am formally requesting, yeah, you chuckle, but it's a pain.
price we pay for living in civilized society, I guess.
Maybe. So again, do I formally request a waiver of this for this evening's purposes?
Yes.
Now- Okay, I'm doing that.
Okay.
Great, wonderful. I'm not sure that we worked our way through the whole board with comments and questions. I think I got to Lisa, Peter and Paul. Isn't that like a band? Okay. Patrick Fullen, have any comments or questions?
I do not at this time. No.
Thank you very much. Nor do I have any comments or questions. Would you like to make a formal request for us to consider a waiver of your certified plot plan?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Is
Can
that sufficient? Yes.
Yes, thank you. Can I get a
Did we check to see if there's anyone here who wants
Sure.
to speak?
Thank you very much, Lisa. Do we have anyone who wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay,
And another point of order, Madam Chair,
yes.
is there any further discussion by board members? Are you all good?
Discussion.
Okay.
We're all
Okay, so I make a motion. I'm going to do it in one fell swoop, if I may. I make a motion to approve the waiver of certified plot plan for this ZBA decision. And I also make a motion to approve the special permit for 60 Camelot Drive. Okay,
I
Peter
think
seconds.
I think we were going to stipulate the distance from the rear property line also in the motion.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So let me start over. I make a motion to approve the waiver of certified plot plan for this ZBA decision. I also make a motion to approve the special permit with condition for rear setback and I can be specific, of 38.7 feet.
Could I request that we make this 38 just in case we're off by a little bit? I mean, I don't want to come down to there's a problem because of 3 inches.
I think we might be stuck with what you've submitted already. I'm not sure though, if the planner has a different opinion on that.
Bernie, can you comment on that, please?
I
I mean,
suppose the
everyone
board, as
should
a special
know.
permit, the board actually has the flexibility to condition as it sees fit. So I will leave the discretion to the board.
I
Is that
don't think the 0.7 feet is an issue for me. I don't know if it is for anyone else.
Thank you.
So I've been on decisions where 1 inch was important. So I'm of the opinion that how it's worded right now in the existing setback is what we should stick to, and that meets this pre-existing non-conforming condition. And we can, just to explain, we will be voting on the fact that it is not more non-conforming.
True.
So it is very important to stick to the 38.7 or better. So I would like to keep it as is. That's my opinion.
Am I allowed to speak at this point?
Well, I think
So I think normally, normally we close the hearing after putting it out to public comment, but you've already spoken. So Madam Chair, what would you like to do?
Yes, Mr. Fuller, please continue.
I'm at a loss as to why that makes a difference. May I call you Lisa?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I wouldn't know. Just, I don't understand, first of all, the point of the 50-foot setback. And
Well,
even
so
if you have a 50-foot setback, has anybody looked at my property?
I wonder if I could jump in here, Madam
Sure,
Chair.
please.
The 50-foot setback is in the town bylaws, and the fact that it be not more non-conforming than it currently is legally significant. So I don't think we're going to debate the sort of purpose of the entire bylaw. We're looking at whether your particular request meets the criteria for a special permit. And I think most of us appear to believe that it does. So we can go down that road if you'd like to, but I'm not sure it would be profitable for anybody on the call.
And to Mr.
I agree
Mulcahy's
with that.
point,
Would it be possible to address this in a different forum for other people in my neighborhood at some future point in a different place?
town meeting.
How does one do that?
Right. Town meeting would be a perfect time to talk about that.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So, Madam Chair, I think, if you've gone, have you gone to public comment yet?
Yes, we did. There was none.
Yeah. So, first you'd need a motion to close the public hearing, in which case no further information can be taken from the public or the applicant, and then you can deliberate. So there needs to be a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, motion to close the public hearing, please.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for 60 Camelot Drive.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Lisa,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Patrick Fullen,
Aye.
Mary Beth Lynch, aye. Can I get a motion? Please.
Is there, if there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion. Does anyone want to still talk about the condition? Or requiring the 38.7? Okay. I make a motion to approve the waiver of certified plot plan for this ZBA decision this evening. And I also make a motion to approve the special permit with condition for 60 Camelot Drive, that its rear yard setback be no more than the existing 38.7 feet.
Second.
All in favor? Peter,
Aye.
Patrick Fullen,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Mary Beth Lynch. All in favor, so moved. Thank you. All right, our next hearing is to hear the appeal. Excuse me for a second while I just, to hear the appeal of John and Kathleen Schiavelli, 38 Knowlton Ave, Shrewsbury, Mass, for a special permit to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 7B, section 7B and section 8, table 2, to construct a roof over an exterior porch and stairs upon property located at 38 Knowlton Ave in the Residence B2 district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 22, plot 204000. Mr. Schiavelli, John or Kathleen, are you in attendance today?
Yes, it's John Schiavelli, and I am the homeowner with my wife Kathy at 38 Knowlton Ave.
Thank you, John. Welcome. Can we hear what you're thinking of doing, please?
Sure, as you can see from the plot plan, there is a traditional farmer's porch at the front of my house. My house is a pre-existing structure. Unfortunately, it meets the requirement of a non-conforming use after zoning was put in place. As you can see from that plot plan, the front edge of the porch has a 28-foot setback, whereas the zoning requirement for this zone is 30 feet. I am simply looking to replace my porch. The house was built sometime between 1926 and 1928. I'm fairly confident that this is the original porch and it's well beyond time for it to be replaced. I am not expanding the footprint of the porch at all. In fact, my plan is to preserve the roof as it is, the shed roof over the porch, and rebuild it from the columns down. The one difference that seemed to make sense to me when I submitted the building permit is outside of the perimeter of the porch are 3 wooden stairs and a concrete step. Those are outside the perimeter of the porch, and the significance of that is in the wintertime, it gets sleet and snow and can get ice on it, which I dutifully remove all the time. Despite having done that, I myself have slipped 3 or 4 times on those stairs in the wintertime. So my thought was, when I submitted the building permit application, I thought that I would extend a short roof from the existing shed roof over those 3 steps and the concrete porch. As my building drawing schematics show, the small cricket roof, as it's called, would have the same profile as the main roof on my house. And as I sit here, I am not totally prepared or totally confident that I'm actually going to build that roof. I just thought it made sense to seek the approval to have that option once I got going on my project. Again, it's from a safety perspective and really nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Iris, do you want to put up the construction plans just so everybody can see that, please?
I can do that for you.
And I believe you were also asking for a waiver on the plot plan, probably given the uncertainty of your construction.
That's correct. Well, I submitted a plot plan that came with the papers when we purchased the house nearly 23 years ago. The plot plan is representative of the property. There's been some change to, abutters. In fact, I know all my neighbors, but I have several new neighbors. I don't know all of their last names, for example. I was told at some point along the way I needed to provide all that information, which I may have misunderstood, but it seemed a little confusing to me. But nevertheless, I did submit a plot plan that was stamped from a surveyor when we purchased the property. Seeing this as a basic porch replacement project, I was hoping that a current plot plan would not be necessary.
Okay, thank you very much for all of that. Do we have, Lisa, would you like to start out, comments or questions?
I have a question about the existing footings again. So you're going to try to stick with the existing footprint. Are you going to be using the existing footings?
Well, that's a good question. And part of the problem is, to the best of my knowledge, on the outside corners, the two corners of the porch, there are not any concrete footings in the ground. I've been under the porch, and as best I could determine there was one edge of a cinder block, 16 inches long, 8 inches wide, and it was the edge of the cinder block that a 4x4 post is sitting on. I submitted pictures, maybe I didn't submit pictures to the town planner, excuse me, but the porch is pulled away from the house a bit. There's been sag, and there is sag because there's no concrete footings in place. And as you can see from my plan, there are 4 locations where I intend to put 4-foot deep, 12-inch wide concrete piers.
Okay, understood. So I don't have any more questions for the appellant, but I would treat this similarly to our last hearing, just for the rest of you to know what I'm thinking.
Peter Mulcahy, do we have any comments or questions?
I guess I'd say I'm fine waiving the plot plan where there's not any change in the footprint. And in general, I don't have any issues with this at all.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Mr. Mulcahy. You mean for this decision, but obviously there would be a certified plot plan required.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for our purposes
got it.
here, obviously the building department needs one, but
Okay.
for us, if it would just look exactly the same as the one that we already have for our consideration. So I don't
And
need to see a different one.
Mr. Scabelli, you understand that point. We may not require it for this evening's decision, but you will require it going forward.
Well, actually, if I'm understanding you correctly, and please clarify, it sounds to me that you're stating that I will not be able to secure a building permit until I submit an updated, certified, stamped plot plan?
So I would leave that to the discretion of the building inspectors and not to the Board of Appeals.
That's fine. I'm just asking for a clarification.
Yeah, so for tonight, I can't speak, I'm not the building inspector, or any of them. But you would have to speak with the building inspectors and what their expectations are for a building permit. The zoning board of appeals and myself included do not have jurisdiction over that part of the building permit. So
Understood.
tonight, you're just asking for a waiver from the plot plan. I believe one of the concerns, so the board understands, was that the setback. So what's the one concern, and it's up to the board's discretion here, is that what's being measured is not from the porch. The change is, so the porch is an existing an existing non-conforming porch, which is fine, and the appellant proposes to reconstruct it. Where the setback to the front yard changes is that once you add an overhang to those steps, the zoning enforcement officer and building code, we measure from that overhang. So currently it's 28 feet, the rear yard setback, which is what makes it non-conforming. It would be approximately, I think, 23 and a half feet with the stairs and the overhang. Now, professionally and personally, I don't have an issue with that. I think it's a small change. My professional recommendation is that it's not detrimental to the neighborhood. And for safety, I think it's a reasonable request that the appellant's making. Whether you feel you need to see that in addition to the construction plans, which do show you that the dimensions of that overhang, that is up to the board. So I will leave it to the board at that.
I have
Okay, I
a,
misunderstood. I
well,
didn't-
I wanted to confirm what you just said there, Mr. Cahill,
Sure.
that the existing setback is measured to the edge of the porch, or is it to the stairs?
It's not the stairs. It's only measured to the stairs once you put the overhang on top of it. If you
Sure.
put a roof on
Okay.
a stair, it gets measured.
Yeah, and the reason that is because the roof does not extend over. Yeah, okay.
Right
So,
now.
right.
Yeah.
So we have I'm sorry, I'm deliberating. So let's just, I'm done with my questions. Thanks.
Great. I'm going to move on. Peter, I've already asked you for comments, questions, correct?
Yeah, I guess I would just add, so that changes my understanding, but I think in terms of the plot plan, I'd be comfortable doing what we did with the previous hearing of just stipulating the extension. I don't need to see the little box on the paper, because I think it says in here that it would extend out no more than 4 5/10 feet in length southerly. And I agree that that's not a huge distance. So.
Okay, thank you. Paul George, do we have any questions or comments?
I was just wondering if that roof made this structure more non-conforming. The roof structure.
It does.
Technically, yes, by the width of the stairs.
So the roof
Yes.
structure is only going to be covering the stairs, not the whole structure, the whole
That
front
is
of the.
correct. It's just going to be the stairs, just for safety concerns, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Patrick, comments or questions?
No, I do not.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone out there in Google would like to be heard on this matter? There being no further comments? I, for the record, don't have an issue at all with the waiver. And I do understand that it's measured from the roof and not the steps. So that is an interesting plot twist, but I was aware of that. So can I get a motion, please?
So first, Mr. Cahill, would it be all right if we have Madam Chair just say we're closing the hearing and then ask for deliberation instead of a motion to close every hearing?
So I know the board's done this differently in the past.
Okay.
Under Mr. Rosen, other boards close public hearings by vote.
Okay.
Before they proceed, and I'd like this board to start doing that as well.
Okay, and I understand that because then you know that there's no further discussion, let's say.
Correct.
So
Mhm.
do you want us to have that deliberation discussion before closing the hearing then?
No, you need to close the public hearing.
Okay,
Understood.
all
You
right.
can't get more info.
okay, so
The public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for 38 Knowlton Avenue.
Can I get a second?
Second,
All in favor?
second,
Lisa?
Aye.
Paul?
aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Patrick?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. You're gonna have to remind me to do that after every one, by the way. Okay, can I get a motion, please?
Well, I'd like.
You are
some
fine
dis-
to deliberate still, Mary Beth. You don't have to make a motion for it. You are perfectly fine to still deliberate and talk about it amongst just the board members.
Do we have any discussion, guys?
So I think I do want to discuss this. So legally speaking, what's being proposed is more non-conforming. So, so we need to take that into consideration. The appellant has the opportunity to really do things within the existing footprint and not, and even do things to be less non-conforming or no worse non-conforming. But I do believe the appellant has a very good point regarding the safety of those stairs. So I would, I'm fine and I'm in a position to approve and not require the certified plot plan for that decision. So that's where I'm standing.
Peter?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I think where the stairs are sort of, if he's going to rebuild the porch and the stairs in the same location, I understand that as sort of a technical matter, putting a roof over it changes the setback, but as a practical matter, it's going to be in the exact same place it is now, just with a roof on top. And I don't think that will be a sort of issue for me. And in terms of the plot plan, I think there's a number in there for how far the stairs extend. So I think if we were to just sort of bake that into our decision, like we did with the last one, I'm fine proceeding without a plot plan.
What is that?
Madam Chair, I have a question for Mr. McCauley. So you're saying that the condition in this case would be around the depth of the stairs?
Oh yeah, just that the roof would extend only as far as the existing footprint of the stairs.
So we don't even have to give a measurement.
I think there's one in the letter if we wanted to be
I think we
extra
might
precise, we could.
need to. So let's see.
So I think if you want to be consistent with your previous decision,
Yeah,
I
we
think
should
your
definitely
condition
do.
would simply state, Peter, that the covered stair will not be greater than, or closer than, 23 5/10 feet from the front yard property line.
23 5/10.
And
Okay.
keep it as simple, 23 and a half.
Yeah, 23 and a half feet.
Right,
Yeah.
from the front yard property line, and don't make it more complicated than that.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I can't
Just for the
imagine
step,
they're
because
going to
right
build
there's
a
a
roof
deck
out
there.
to the sidewalk or anything, but just to be,
Yeah.
23 and a half feet.
Great. Paul, do we have more comment question from you? Any more discussion?
I'm all set with the plot plan. So in other words, the roof overhang is going to be just like a portico.
Correct.
Okay, I'm all set.
Patrick, do we have any comments, questions?
Nope.
Okay, I'll be looking for a motion, please.
Okay, that would be me. I'm going to lump these into one. I make a motion to approve the waiver of certified plot plan for this ZBA decision this evening. And I also make a motion to approve the special permit with a condition that the front yard setback be no more than 23.5 feet for 38 Knowlton Avenue.
Can I get a
For just the
second?
porch, did you say that? I'm sorry, for just the covered stairs, right?
So we could say that, or it's there. The new front yard setback will be 23.5
Yes.
feet. So
But I think Bernie,
do
what
I
you're
need
getting
to
at
go
is-
there?
I think what Bernie's getting at is otherwise you could build the porch, the whole thing out.
Oh,
to
the
that,
whole porch.
as opposed to just the stairs.
Well, technically.
Well, technically also, just to clarify as well, just
Yeah.
like what Paul George had said, Lisa, this is not to be enclosed. It is just a roof structure over the staircase.
Okay, so hold on.
Well, that should be included in the motion.
And do you also want to get that specific that it's a roof structure over the 4.5 feet wide staircase?
I don't think,
Sure.
do we,
Resulting in no more than a 23.5 front yard setback? Let's just go there then. And you guys can have me adjust it if you don't like my motion. So again, I approve the waiver of certified plot plan for the ZBA decision this evening. I also make a motion to approve special permit with a roof structure over the 4.5 feet staircase, resulting in a 23.5 foot front yard setback.
Can I get a
Would
second?
you like that worded any differently, anyone?
Sounds good. Can I get a second on
I
that?
think that covers it. I think it covers it.
Is that a second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor, Lisa,
Aye.
Paul, George,
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy,
Aye.
and Patrick Fullen.
Aye.
So moved. Next on the agenda, we have, excuse me for 1 second, to hear the appeal of Jared DeWolf, 158 South Quinsigamon Avenue, Shrewsbury, Mass. For a special permit to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 7B to amend a previous special permit issued 9/30/2019 for the conversion of a single-family dwelling into an accessory recreational building upon property located at 158 South Quincy Ave in the Residence B district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 45, plot 00800. Mr. DeWolf, are you in attendance this evening?
Yes. Madam Chair, Richard Ricker, I'm also in attendance. I'm representing Mr. DeWolf for the purposes of this hearing. If I could be heard.
Yes, please, Richard.
Thank you. Members of the board and Madam Chair, this particular location has been in front of you a couple of occasions. Most recently, I believe, in April of 2020, when there was a question raised by the building department as to the use of the two structures on the property. You did file a second decision with the town clerk in April of 2020 to clarify the use of these structures. You will recall that this was a special permit application to essentially switch the use of two structures so that the garage would become a recreational building and a house would be up closer to the road, and there would be a deck on top of the recreational building down in front of the house towards the lake. The construction has proceeded along. As you can see from the elevations in front of you, what Mr. DeWolf is requesting is an amendment to the special permit which is necessitated because we did not have on the initial elevations a roof, which I described in my application here as a cabana type roof, because I think that's what it is. It basically stands on 4 or 6 posts, and it is an open structure, and it just is to provide some weather protection from sun and exposure, basically on a portion of that deck, which is on the roof of the recreational building. So that's the purpose of this. It's to request that you allow and amend the special permit to allow him to have that cabana type roof up there. I would suggest to you respectfully that this doesn't do anything detrimental. It's not a nuisance to the neighborhood. There's nothing value to it. And with that, we're open for questions.
Ms. Cosette, do we have any questions or comments?
I'm thinking. Sorry.
Can I, just for the interest of time, I'm going to ask Mr. Mulcahy if he has any comments or questions.
No, I don't think I have any issues with this.
Okay. Mr. George, wherever you went on my screen, do we have any comments, questions?
It appears Paul has temporarily left the meeting,
Okay. How about
probably
Mr.
due to connection.
Mr. Fullen, do you have any comments, questions?
We have to wait though until Paul comes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's giving Lisa her great questions as usual.
No, I'm still pondering.
Mr. Fullen?
Ken,
Yeah,
we still have to wait. So even with my question, I think.
I cannot tell if Mr. Fullen has questions or comments.
I do not have any questions at the time.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Cossette.
But we have to wait for Paul, I think, right? 'Cause he
Yeah,
has
I
to be
think we
present
have
for the
to
debate.
wait. Yeah,
Oh,
and the questions, I think.
Yep.
So
all right.
hope he can rejoin us.
Is that
I
you?
just, could you send Paul an email and perhaps, or text, or perhaps call him and see if he's having any issues?
Yep, I'm doing that right now.
For those of you watching, I'm sure all your screens are as confusing as mine. They move around. So you never know quite who's here and who's not. So I apologize. It's going to be much easier, I think, when we can all get back to regular face-to-face business. But I think we're doing a good job, and we're all trying to take this in stride and learn as we move along. I'm learning that we have a wonderful cable outfit in the town of Shrewsbury. For the most part, we have amazing service. Every now and then we lose somebody.
So I might be able to ask a question that is just going to repeat what Paul already heard, because I think we lost him after Richard was done speaking. So the main difference is that, is it that the cabana is going to be placed in a different place, or that it's just a higher structure?
No, it's just that it was not shown on the initial plans.
Yeah, okay. So the cabana was not in the initial plans.
Right.
Now you'd like to have one. It doesn't change the footprint, if anything.
No.
So I find it interesting that you even have to come before us, but
Well, the building department felt that it was appropriate because the building department felt that it was appropriate because it was not shown on the elevations. So they wanted you to have a clear view of well.
okay, so
It
let me
changes
go
the
look
look,
at
right?
it again.
Mr. George, are you back?
I just saw.
I see him.
Yeah, I mean,
There we go.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. George.
yeah.
Ms. Cossette, I'm going to let you finish.
Yes. So, Mr. George, I was just asking Mr. Ricker why they really have to even come before us, and so he just repeated basically that the cabana was not in the previous plans, and it changes the elevation of what we saw before. So, and as I recall, can you confirm, Mr. Ricker, the house is now further away? It's more toward the front of the property, and the recreation area, they swapped.
Right.
I guess is what I
Right.
want to say.
Essentially, they swapped, and the garage became the recreational building. He took the second story off of the garage and made a basic deck up there.
Yes, okay.
Story was, and this would be a small roof over, as you can see from the elevation, over only a small portion of the deck.
Okay. I just find it interesting, the chimney level with the cabana, but I'm not a building inspector, so I won't worry about that. I guess I'm going to save any comments I have after hearing from any abutters. So I have nothing.
Okay, let's see. Is there anyone in attendance that wishes to be heard on this matter?
I don't know if Paul had any questions for it.
Oh, Paul, I'm so sorry, Paul.
Does that overhang plan to get enclosed down the road sometime?
I don't believe so. Jared DeWolf is with us. Mr. DeWolf, do you plan on enclosing that? He was with us.
Oh my goodness.
I think though, Paul, the
You
ranch,
guys,
I think,
no, I don't have any plans as of right now to ever enclose it.
and I think it would require an additional amendment to the special permit anyway. The way that
Yeah.
this is working out.
Okay,
It's basically there's no trees, and once it was there, the sun just beats on you, so it's strictly there for shade,
Got it. Okay.
and it looks cool.
Okay,
And
is there
yeah,
anyone,
the chimney is existing from the question from Lisa earlier. That was the original chimney from the house.
Right,
Okay.
they didn't take that down when they took the second story off.
Okay.
anybody in attendance that wishes to be heard on this matter? Going once, going twice. Okay, I have no further questions, comments. Can I get a,
Yes.
oh, I need to close.
I make a motion to close the hearing for 158 South Quinsigamon.
Can I get a second?
Second,
All in favor, Lisa Cosette,
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy,
Aye.
Paul George,
aye.
Patrick Bullen?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion, please?
So I have a question, sorry. This is an amendment to a special permit. I have no idea how to make a motion for an amendment to an existing special permit.
So,
If I could make a suggestion,
Yes, please do, Mr. Ricker.
it would be a motion to allow the amendment of the special permit
Okay.
and with those dates.
As requested. Or
And that was, so that was October 2019
And April 2020.
and April 2020. Do we need the specific days? I'm just going to say October and of 2019, April 2020, allow amendment. Okay, so here goes.
is it September 30, 2019?
Yes,
Yeah.
September.
Oh,
September.
sorry, I have October. September 30, 2019 and April 20 something. Mr. Ricker, you may have that. That's not in our Google Drive.
I had it written
It
down.
would be April 27th was the last Monday in April.
Okay. All right, great. So I make a motion to allow an amendment to the special permit granted September 30th, 2019 with a second decision on April 27th, 2020 on 158 South Quinsigamon Avenue.
Can I get a
Sec-
second?
Second,
All in favor? Can I start with Lisa, please?
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy,
Aye.
Paul George,
aye.
Patrick Fullen,
Aye.
Mary Beth Lynch, aye. So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Ricker. I just want to comment, I know I'm going out of order sometimes, but again, my screen is changing, which is why I'm going out of order and when I call on you. So no preference here. Lisa just.
No problem. Change it up.
Good. Maybe I'll start with Peter next time or
Yeah.
Paul. Peter, Paul, and Mary. We need to. Oh, wow, there is a Peter, Paul, and Mary. Oh my gosh.
You.
That's kind of cool. Okay, let's move along. All right, our next hearing is to hear the appeal of Linda E. Turnquist, 389 Prospect Street, Shrewsbury, for a special permit to the Town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under Section 4B to demolish an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling with a carport, as well as 3 variances from Section 7, Table 2 for the side yard and rear yard setback and lot coverage upon property located at 47 Plainfield Avenue in the Residence B2 District. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 39, Plot 36. Attorney Ricker, are you representing Ms. Turnquist?
I am. She has asked me to speak on her behalf. However, she is also in attendance. And I believe her engineer is also with us. Mr. Aziz, if you're here.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
If I could just start, Madam Chair, this matter has been kind of fits and starts for a few months now. She originally filed for special permit and 2 variances back in April, believe it or not. That application did go forward to a hearing, but it didn't go forward because the variance was not included in the actual hearing matter. And I believe that that was because of interpretation issues with regard to case law that has been coming down on a regular basis relative to changes to non-conforming uses and structures. As the present, as of right now, this application requires us to ask you for a special permit, and to ask you to take the two steps that Chapter 48, Section 6 applies to these types of requests. In addition to the special permit, we would be required, because we are pushing out these setbacks, we are presenting new nonconformities. That being the side yard setback from the carport that is shown on this plot plan on the proposed house. The rear yard setback, which you can see does not meet the 40 feet, which is typically required in this zone. And lot coverage, which I tried like heck to get rid of that problem. But because this lot is only 50 by 100, this 1,401 square foot house causes a lot coverage if you want to have a carport to protect, as Linda is asking for one, to protect her from the elements. In as much as she is suffering from ambulatory problems resulting from health-related issues with her legs and feet. I would respectfully suggest to you, I wish that, well, Linda, your board heard this as a special permit, and you granted her the special permit in order to enlarge the house some months back, you will recall. So once we got to the point where the builder went for building permits with the building department and started reviewing plans there again, it was determined that, in fact, we needed to come back and ask for at least one variance, that being at that time the rear yard setback, because Linda at that stage had felt that, well, if she couldn't get the carport, she'd have to try to live with it, and that's that. As you can see from this proposal, she's asking for the carport as well as to rebuild the home. This house that's presently on the lot is 1,000 square feet. Linda grew up here. This was her family home, been in her family for many, many years. I would suggest to you that this is one of a few homes down in that neighborhood, but not many, that remain isolated in as much as they're on these small lots. A lot of lots down there have been merged, and if you walk around that neighborhood, you see that, or drive around, you see that there are large houses all around her, and a lot of additions have been pushed to the side yards and the backyards and the front yards even. So she is kind of an anomaly down there, in as much as I would suggest that this being a pretty mild proposal in terms of the size of a home, a residential structure in Shrewsbury, I would say it's a very reasonable size. And in light of everything that's around her that pushes out to the sidelines, almost all the houses around her do that. It would not certainly be out of place. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't have any nuisance value. But it is the size of the lot that causes this problem. And she wants to live there. I mean, it is her family home. She found out when dealing with the building department and with her contractor and the engineer that there were some construction issues with the existing home there. It's got some construction problems. It's got some termite issues. It's got 2x4 construction issues that do not lend themselves to putting additions on as much as 2x6 construction would. You know, she combines that with you know, the fact that her health requires her to make these requests, and that brings us to you. So I would suggest it's not a derogation from the bylaw by any means, because this is clearly a single-family use. As I understand it, and Linda can correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, the reason for the other bedrooms upstairs is for her children. At least one child is going to live with her some of the time, at least as in a caretaker mode, to help her in light of her health issues. It's a modest size house. It's a very small lot. And I would suggest to you that the special permit, there is no nuisance value whatsoever to the special permit here. She's talked to her neighbor, the closest neighbor to the carport, and my understanding is that they had no issue at all. With respect to the special permit itself, I would suggest the second step brings us to the question of is the pushing out of these nonconformities, of this nonconformity, is that more detrimental to the neighborhood than what's there? And the answer I would suggest to you respectfully is no. It is still a single family use. It's still a family home. She wants to live there. She will live there. Then we get to the, obviously, the lot coverage. We're 0.3% above on the lot coverage. And that's because we have a bulkhead and a small deck and a small deck out front, basically, that bring us over those levels without roofs. But needless to say, that shed that is shown on the proposed house plan is no longer there. I can tell you that. That is no longer there, and it shouldn't really be on the plan. With the engineer a number of times. For some reason, it still stays on the plan. I don't know why. So, I mean, that's the basis for this request. I think if Linda, if you wanted to add anything else.
You said it all, Richard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we get a copy of the plan, please?
Sure. I would also like to state to the board, in case Mr. Richard Ricker didn't mention it, that there was a waiver that was requested.
For the fee.
And it was for the fee back in August.
This will be the third fee that we've paid for this. We filed last month and pulled back because of questions with the interpretation again. We got town council involved and I discussed with Patty and I think Adis and Bernie the fact that I would be requesting a waiver of this particular fee, although she paid it.
Can you confirm that, Richard? She did pay it? You asked for a waiver and she did pay?
I was instructed to have her pay it because the proper method is for me to ask you for a waiver, and then if you were to vote the waiver of the fee, then I would take that vote and go to the treasurer's office and ask them for a check.
And she's already,
which in and of itself is hard to do these days anyway, so. You know.
I confirm she's already paid two fees previous to that.
Yes.
Yes, she originally, Mary Beth had paid the application fee back in August of this year. So 1 month ago, she had paid the fee and she had withdrawn her application prior to the legal notice being submitted. So that is the reason why we are also recommending approval of the waiver.
Right, so it didn't cost the town anything.
Okay. Do we have plans?
I saw it up a minute ago.
Presenting it now for you, Mary Beth.
Thank you. Let's, can we get this conversation started? Lisa, you're in the position of starting.
First again? Okay.
I know, for your appearance.
Mr. Ricker, I understand the 3 variances for one's for the rear setback, one's for the side setback, and one is for the lot coverage.
Right.
Can you explain exactly what the special permit is?
The special permit is because this is a prior non-conforming. And what we are doing is legally altering a prior non-conforming structure by asking for permission to knock it down and rebuild it.
Right. Okay.
That qualifies as a alteration under the law. So,
Okay.
so once you reach the level where you say, okay, you want to alter a non-conforming structure, that's a special permit that just requires you to establish a threshold of no nuisance value, okay?
Yep.
But then when we expand on the nonconformity, like we are here on
Yes.
lot coverage, for instance, that's you have to reach that second level of inquiry, which requires you to make a determination that there is
Yes.
no substantial extra detriment to the neighbors.
Understood, and thus those are all variances. Okay, thank you. So I just want to make a comment that I was part of this hearing before. I was in favor of what we approved, obviously last time. I think it was unanimous. And really appreciated hearing from the appellant at that time. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Paul, George, do we have any comments or questions?
I'm just wondering if she spoke to all the abutters and if they're all on the same page with her.
Linda, that's a question for you. You've spoken to some of your abutters at least.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And they're fine with it.
And Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I had one more question. I'm gonna go out of order. Mr. Rickard, the lot coverage variance is because of the carport, really?
It really is.
Correct? Okay, thank you.
And I would note that if this was just a special permit, you will recall from town council's memorandum to you a year or so back, that you would not even be considering the carport to be a substantial change, alteration, which would not rise to the level of that substantial deviation from.
I am aware.
Okay.
One last question. The remaining concrete from the shed in the plot plan, is that included in the lot coverage or not? Because it's not a structure, it's just the concrete. Okay.
You know, I can't tell because the proposed house and the carport don't add up to the same square footage as shown. But I think I think not. I think not.
Okay.
And I tried every which way to finagle the bagel on this one. I couldn't figure out how. I was suggesting that we maybe put the bulkhead inside the carport, and just things.
And they can't do that. Yeah.
There wasn't enough room for a single car.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Mr. George, did I ask you already?
Yeah, I got one other question. I was wondering if she planned on doing any screening for the abutters where the variants are asked for?
I think they
In
should.
terms of vegetation.
Paul, I think I can answer that. And Linda, correct me if I'm wrong. You would put screening there if your abutter wanted you to, right? I mean, I don't know what kind of screening you would put there, but if.
Does that mean a fence?
Does that mean a fence?
It could mean a fence, greenery, anything really.
I think.
If you're screening there now.
No, there is none. No, and the present house is 15 feet away from the sideline. I think that rightly so should be a matter for Linda to discuss with the neighbor if they want a fence. I'm sure Linda would put one up
Absolutely.
if they wanted it. I think it gets real personal when you're that close to your neighbors.
Right. Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mulcahy, do we have any questions or comments?
I guess I'd just offer that I think the criteria for the variance are pretty clearly met. It's a particularly long and narrow lot. And if you look at some of the other lots around it, they're more square and have more width. And I think really, if you're going to build on this lot, the only way you can go is closer to the back line and to the side. So I think there's a clear hardship in terms of shape.
Thank you. Mr. Fullen, do we have any comments or questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, could I make one other comment? I just want to make sure we're aware from the elevations, because I've been learning as we go through this process that sometimes there's a disconnect between the meeting here and when they go to get the building permit. I just want to make sure that the board is aware that this is a two-story structure. Because that was the question that frankly, the building department had about the last hearing, which is why we were going to come back and seek an amendment, because she felt that there was not sufficient evidence in front of you at that time of a two-story structure, even though the elevations were there. So I want the board to know that this is a two-story structure. That's all. Thank you.
Yes. Is there anyone in attendance that wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay. Can I get a motion to close this, please?
Motion to close.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, Lisa Cosette?
Aye. Aye.
Peter Mulcahy?
Aye.
Paul George?
Aye.
And Mr. Fullen?
Aye.
Great, and aye. Can I get a, Ms. Cosette, I hope you have copious notes here.
Yeah, I'll make a stab at it, but is there any discussion? I have nothing further that I need to talk about. And well, let me say this, Mr. George, you might have been alluding to adding a condition for buffer. I'm not in favor of adding that condition. Do we want to talk about that?
No, I figured if the abutters wanted some type of screening, they would be there and voice their opinion during the hearing.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I
Awesome.
agree. I agree with that.
Great. So let me see if I can take a stab at this. I think maybe I should do it separately.
Sure.
So I make a motion to approve the waiver of application fee for this appeal.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, Lisa Cosette?
Aye.
Paul George?
Aye.
Mulcahy?
Aye.
Patrick Fullen?
Aye.
Beth Lynch,
Okay.
aye. So moved.
Okay, and I'm going to make a motion all combined because there were no special conditions. So I make a motion to approve the special permit and the variance for rear yard setback, side yard setback, and lot coverage for 47 Plainfield Avenue.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, Ms. Cosette?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mulcahy?
Aye.
Mr. Fullen?
Aye.
Mary Beth Lynch, aye. So moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good night, Linda.
Good
Enjoy
night.
your new home.
Thank
Yes.
you so much, all of you. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you for your patience.
You take
Yeah.
care.
Patience. Okay, let's move right along. 6:30 hearing. To hear the appeal of Christopher Watson, 36. Am I reading the right? Yes, 36 Fireback Ave, Shrewsbury, Mass. For a special permit to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 7B to demolish an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling upon property located at 35 Phillips Ave in the residential district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 25, plot 075001. Mr. Watson, are you in?
He is.
And-
He is. He is
I
here.
I am here.
And
Attorney Ricker will be,
Madam Chair, Richard Ricker, I'm, as you know, an attorney representing Mr. Watson for the purposes of this hearing. I note to you that we've given you a certified plot plan showing the existing house and the proposed house so that you can compare as I talk. This is a request to knock down the house at 35 Phillips Avenue and to replace it with the proposed house as shown on the proposed plan. As you can see, the setback issues are actually improved by the new proposed house. And if you've gone down there like I have, and I'm sure you have, looked at what is there on the site, you can understand why Mr. and Mrs. Watson want to build a new home there, build a new house there. It's an older home, and it is in great need of either repair or demolition. In this case, they've chosen demolition and replacement. Now, the reason for the nonconformity on the front yard that remains is only because of the size of the landing. In dealing with the building department, I was told that if we shrunk that down to 36 inches, which is the width of the door, that wouldn't count. And it wouldn't count against the setback. But the problem here is that wouldn't look good either. And as you can see from the elevations that are in front of you, this house that they propose is much nicer house than what is there presently. I know we're looking at it sideways here, and I apologize, but it is a new structure. It is you know, if you shrank that front foyer down, it would look like a chicken coop. So it just wouldn't work. So, and I know chicken coops are allowed in town, but the Watsons don't want one in the front of their house. The other thing that I would anticipate Lisa would ask me about is, well, why can't you make this fully conform by pushing the house back a little bit? Mm-hmm. Well, the reason is because the Watsons themselves and their daughter live in these houses, and their house at 36 Furbeck is set back on the lot so that you don't have a lot of room behind that house. So we're trying to maintain good yard areas to the rear of both of these houses. And we felt that in light of the fact that we are greatly improving this property and greatly improving upon the setbacks and the nonconformities, that was a reasonable thing to do. So I would suggest to you respectfully, there is absolutely no nuisance value to this proposal. And the fact is that it is not in any way more detrimental to any of the neighbors whatsoever. It's a good proposal. It's a rebuild. It's a fine proposal. I couldn't be happier to do this for Mr. Watson. And with that, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Cosette.
Me again. So I did have a question. What the rear yard requirement for a resident B is 40? Is that correct?
It's 40 feet, yes.
So you have 41.5 right now, right?
Yep.
So even if you pushed it back, you know, then you're affecting the rear yard setback.
And we still couldn't push it back. A foot and a half wouldn't do it for us.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You still have your front porch.
Exactly.
And
okay.
if I show you this, I'm not sure if you can see this, but this is.
You're going to have to give that to us.
This
no,
is the tax plate, and you can see how close the houses are to the rear yards.
Yeah, I can see it on the GIS too.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
So I have no other question. You're basically ending with after all is said and done, you're now conforming on 3 of your setbacks. You're only non-conforming on the front, but you've improved it.
And that's only because of the width of the landing. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mulcahy.
Nothing for me. Looks great.
Great. Mr. George, comments,
Yeah,
questions?
the only question I have, is it tied into town water and sewer, or is there septic?
I believe it's going to be tied into sewer. They paid a sewer betterment there, so they're entitled to tie in, Paul.
Okay.
Good question.
Oh, yeah.
You, Mr. Fullen, do we have any questions or comments?
No, looks good to me too.
Great. Cosette, are you gonna disrupt my flow again?
Can I?
No, I'm not. I'm just getting ready to.
Okay, just as a matter of clarification,
Yeah.
Chris, am I correct that you paid a sewer betterment down there? Because I
We
know.
do, yes.
Yeah, there's
So
sewer.
we're gonna be hooking up.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure that he made sure he's correct. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see, is there anybody in attendance who wishes to be heard on this matter?
I have some questions.
Sure.
My name's Stephanie Echo, and I live across the street from the property. I think it's wonderful that, this is going to be updated and changed. I just have a few questions about the project itself, such as, do I need to be concerned with things like dust or asbestos or lead paint blowing into my yard or my house because we're very close?
If I could answer that?
Yes, please.
The applicant will be required to do a asbestos survey as part of the demolition permit process. He'll have to do a lead paint survey, an asbestos survey, and if there is anything of that nature in the house, then there will have to be special procedures taken by the company that does the demolition and associated companies to deal with those particular hazardous materials. There is a bylaw that also prohibits dust from bothering you. So if there was a dust problem, if you complained, they would be required to correct it right away. I don't think Mr. Watson, who lives directly behind the house, wants to have any problems like that. I think this is a matter of he'll do whatever he can to make sure this is a smooth project.
No, I'm sure of that because I think we're both equidistant between the house itself.
Right.
And does the same go, I know there's a healthy little forest family of everything living in there about rodent migration. Do they take care of that as well?
I think that's a common sense answer more than anything.
Okay.
The fact is that if there are pests there that are going to have to be eradicated, they would be eradicated just prior to demolition. You're not allowed to just chase them out. So.
Okay. My other question is, what is going to be done with the large oak trees? Will they be removed as well or pruned back? Because I've been hearing them creaking a lot lately, and it's making me very nervous that they're starting to come down.
Chris, could you answer that?
Yeah, all the trees on the site are going to be coming down.
Oh, wonderful. And my last question is, when do you think the project is expected to start, and what will the hours or days be? Because with remote learning and working from home and stuff, I just want to be prepared.
That all depends on contractors and getting them lined up and assuming approval here this evening. We've got plans together from, we're using Heritage Modular Homes right down the road. They've told us it's probably about a 10 to 12 week construction period just for that. We're hoping within that time frame that they'd be, taking the house down and whatnot. But we're hoping to get it done by the first of the year. That might be a little aggressive with everybody's very busy right now.
Okay, that's great.
But I would point out that a modular home is a lot less noisy than a stick-built home.
Yeah.
Perfect. That answers all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in attendance that wishes to be heard? Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
from the building department under department comments, this is just when it comes to us before a permit application, that the building department has recommended that the appellant provide a complete floor plan that shows both floors in their entirety, because the submitted floor plans that we have before you as well only shows part of each floor plan. It's probably about 2/3 or 3/4 of each floor is shown on those plans for the proposed single family dwelling, but that's
probably
from
my
the
copy.
building department.
Yeah, that's probably my copying. I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah, I was copying, so sorry.
Just clarifying.
Yeah. I'm looking at the copies and Adis, I agree. Yeah. I had 11 by 17s. I shrunk them down and apparently they didn't all come out.
So point of order, we're requesting, the building department's requested it. I, for one, don't feel the zoning board needs it for the decision, and I don't think we need to ask for a waiver for it. So what should we do with that? I'm fine making a decision without it. And I don't think the appellant needs to make a waiver.
Yeah, I'm not sure floor plans are normally something that we sort of
No.
strictly require as opposed to a plot plan. So
I think maybe you should just move forward and make a motion.
Okay.
If there, first I have to close the hearing if there's no other
Can I,
comment. Or make a motion to close it if there's no other comment. Guess not. Okay, I make a motion to close the hearing for 35 Phillips Avenue.
can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Lisa Cosette,
Aye.
Paul George,
Aye. Aye.
Peter Mulcahy,
aye.
Patrick,
Aye.
Mary Beth, aye. So moved. Can I get a motion? Ms. Cosette, are you making all motions this evening?
I think so, apparently. So, if there's no further discussion, I don't think there is. I make a motion, and there's no conditions to talk about, so I make a motion to approve the special permit for 35 Phillips Avenue.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, Ms. Cosette,
Aye.
Mr. Mulcahy,
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Fullen,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch, aye. So moved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, committee members. Thank you, Mr.
Have a good
Reckon.
night, everybody.
Thank you
Have a
very much.
Aye.
Okay. And then there were 12.
Uh,
Okay.
I think I have to do this. Can I go ahead and make a motion to accept the withdrawal for 180 Spring Street?
As soon as
Which
I
is
mention it,
Oh, okay. Have to do that
Yep.
first.
yep. Can I get a motion to request to withdraw the petition for 180 Spring Street, please?
I make a motion for withdrawal.
Can I get a
Second.
second? All in favor, Lisa Cosette,
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy,
Aye.
Paul George,
Aye.
Mr. Fullen,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch, aye. So moved. Thank you. Okay, we're down to 2 more hearings at our 6:30 hearing. Well, Okay, next up is to hear the appeal of Myrna and Maria Cazares, 148 Boylston Street, Shrewsbury, Mass, for a special permit to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 7B to demolish and increase the height of a second floor master bedroom above the garage to a height that matches the existing level of the existing non-conforming single-family dwelling upon property located at 15 Main Boulevard in the Residence B1 district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 23, plot 204000. Ms. Myrna or Maria Cazares, are we, or is there someone representing them? Oh, okay, we have here. I see, Myrna Cazares, I hear you, but I don't know that you hear us.
Having some trouble hearing altogether.
I'm here.
There we go. How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Good, thank you for joining us and waiting patiently. We appreciate it. Are you speaking for yourself this evening?
I thought that the contractor was on the line and I was just kind of here for support, but that they
Do
would.
we have a contractor on the line that would be?
I just don't have the, the proper terminology and stuff like that to explain everything.
Is that Mr. Dominiquez?
Yes, I'm here. I'm going to speak on behalf of Mrs. Cazares.
Wonderful. Please proceed forward and give us an idea of what you plan to do.
So this is a pre-existing non-conforming lot that we have. We have a previous permit that allows us to demo the house. So what we want to do now, we already have the house built. What we want to do now is to increase the height of the master bedroom above the garage to have the same height that the rest of the house and to allow us to have more room inside for bedroom and for we know that but we already had a permit for that. Our only request is for you to allow us to increase the height of the master bedroom on the second floor.
Okay. Do we have plans that we can look at?
Yes.
Yes, I can present that to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So can we?
Once we increase the height is not going to be taller than the maximum allowed by the town. We're getting a little bit lower, and it keeps. It has the same height that the existing house. The blue, the color one, is the addition that we want to do. This is how the house is now. You can see that it's a half a story with a dormer in front. So inside we have a lot of attic space that we don't want to have anymore. That's why we want to increase the height of the house, of that portion of the house.
I see. Okay.
So the rest of the house exists today?
Procedurally, Paul, if we could, can I start with, is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this? Any of your butters, anybody out there? Okay. Thank you. Could I just as a point of order start with Lisa, just because she's top on my screen? Lisa, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Dominguez?
So I just want to make sure this is as simple as it seems. The application confused me a little bit, but so you have an existing structure and you're not changing the footprint at all. All you're doing is taking a portion of the second floor and raising its height.
Yes, you are correct. We are not changing the footprint. We are not changing the height of the rest of the house. It's only the second floor above the garage.
Okay. So, all right, I didn't need to know any of the previous history or anything. That confused me a little bit in the application, but now I understand it's very simple and you're not changing. The only thing that could be affected is possibly the maximum lot coverage perhaps, or
doesn't change.
Mr. Rudis, and the existing, they're increasing the square footage of the home, but that shouldn't affect.
It doesn't
So,
affect anything.
Yeah, okay, and this
Because all
is
the square footage is already there. It's just getting larger as far as the height.
Okay, and this is a, just want to see what the application says, special permit. Yes, okay, I have no questions, pretty straightforward.
Okay. Mr. Mulcahy, do you have any comments?
Only comment is, I guess, for special permit, we're supposed to consider the sort of look and the height and everything. I noticed that, increasing the height to the full height of the building on the side that is the one that's non-conforming because it's so close is maybe not ideal, but it's at 7.5 feet, so it's not like it's right up against the property line. So, in terms of scale, maybe, I guess I'm not super worried about it, but I'd be curious as to what others on the board think of that. And sorry about the cat background again.
Okay.
In terms of scale, so it's not as pretty as it is right now, but the scale, what do you?
I just mean that it's, so instead of being 1.5 stories at the side that's a little bit too close to the property line, it's going to be a full 2 stories at the side that's a little bit too close to the property line.
I see
But
what you're
it's a relatively small change overall. So that's my only thought.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. George, do you have any comments?
Coverage needed.
No, my questions were answered.
Okay, and Mr. Fullen?
No questions.
Yeah, I'm comfortable as well. with what we've got in front of us. I think it's a fair request. Can I get a motion? Is there, I already asked, is there, can we get a motion to close?
I make a motion to close.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Lisa Cosette,
Aye.
Paul George,
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy,
Aye.
and Patrick Fullen.
Aye.
Mary Beth Lynch, aye. So moved. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Well,
voted yet.
okay. That's okay.
So, but you're close, but not far. We're almost there. Give us 2 more minutes. Any comments, anybody?
So is there any discussion? If not, I will make a motion.
I'm comfortable with it. Everybody else by shakes of heads. So
Okay.
go ahead and make. that'd be
I
great.
make a motion to approve the special permit for 15 Main Boulevard.
Wonderful. Can I get a second? Okay. All in favor, Lisa Cosette,
Aye.
Paul George,
Aye.
Peter Mulcahy,
Aye.
and where was it, Mr. Patrick Fullen?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Congratulations and thank you for your patience very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Okay.
Thank you especially to Aidas because he helped us to go through the way to get into this. Thank you very much.
Nice job, Idas.
You're welcome, David.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Aye.
That's so nice to hear. I love that. Okay, we've got one more hearing. One more 6:30 hearing, I might add. To hear the appeal of Jason Whitus,
Wittis,
excuse me, 6 Harold Lane, Shrewsbury, Mass, for a special permit to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 4B to construct a 1-story addition to a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling and a variance to the town of Shrewsbury zoning bylaws under section 7, table 2, to increase lot coverage to 36.96% upon property located at 6 Harold Lane in the Residence B2 district. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 51, Plot 158000. Mr. Whitus, are you with us this evening?
I am.
Wonderful. Welcome and thank you for your patience.
Well, thank you for hearing me.
All right. So why don't you let us know what you've got in mind over Harold Lane?
All right. I would like to build an 18 by 32 addition off the west side of the property. It's a non-conforming, pre-existing dwelling. It will not be any more non-conforming than the existing dwelling. I'd also like to withdraw the variance. I was a bit confused as to what constituted lot coverage, and I'm actually well below the maximum of 30%. Currently at 7.1, and with the addition, I'll be at 11.3. So I'd really just like to apply for a special permit for the addition.
Okay. You have a lot of corners on that lot, don't you?
I do. Yes. Yes.
Which side is the back and side and front?
It's actually it's 2 combined front corner lots, so it's all front lots except for what looks like the rear would be the side. So it requires a 10-foot setback. The house is at 5.6. The addition will be 10.6. So actually, the addition is conforming to the side, but in the front, the existing, it's non-conforming at 24.2, but the proposed addition will stay even with the current structure.
Yep. Do we have plans?
Yeah, it's very helpful to see them. I'm looking at them right
Oh.
now. So everything he just
Oh,
described.
okay. I thought
Really
I had them
nice and
presented.
clear.
No, but it helps to see the plot plan, that's for sure.
Oh, it was a race. That guy finished at like 4:25 on Friday with that, so I can get it to Itis.
That's great.
Well, you should be very glad that you submitted this because that would have been
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's actually, we absolutely needed this.
Yes, we did.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Money well spent.
Yes, for sure. do we have, other, I want to see the plans that we have, if I could. Okay, let's, I can muddle through oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay, let's open discussion while I wander through. Is there anyone that cares that he needs or wants to be heard on this matter in attendance? Okay. If not, let's move on to comments and questions. Ms. Cosette, do we have any comments or questions?
So it is about plans, more detailed architectural or construction plans. Do you,
Hello?
normally we would see those. Oh, hello.
Hi, I'm sorry. I would like to be heard.
Oh, please, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Denise Steves, and I'm at 38 Edgemere Boulevard, and I'm a direct neighbor of Jay's.
Thank you, Ms. Thieves.
Thank you. So the only thing I wanted to say is I really hope that you approve this, because what he has in mind is going to improve the property next to me tremendously. It will increase my property value, and it'll bring another nice home into the neighborhood.
That's,
Thank you, Denise.
That's great. That is always helpful in all of our neighborhoods to improve them like that. That's great. Anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? Okay. Ms. Cosette, did you want to?
So my only comment was we're used to seeing more detailed architectural or construction plans. I don't know if it would change my ruling at all, or how I feel about this, but are you, and as you go through the process, you're going to need them anyway.
Okay, I'm meeting with the structural engineer on Wednesday.
Okay.
To get actual plans drawn. It's gonna just be, there's gonna be no plumbing or water going into there. It's strictly just gonna be 3 bedrooms for my kids, and then the basement, it's gonna be a full height basement for storage. So it's really just a basic addition where I just need to fit my family in there.
Okay. Okay. So the most helpful thing to me was seeing the official plot plan, and thank you very much. You're well within. Well, hold on a second. I did want to look at one more thing. Sorry.
That's all right.
That's the drawing. Yeah. So you're not going to be affecting any of your existing non-conforming setbacks, and you're not exceeding the minimum lot coverage, so maximum lot coverage. So I have no more questions.
Thank you, Cosette. Mr. Mulcahy, do we have any questions?
No, like Lisa, I think the certified plot plan was very helpful. And also like Lisa, I think, when we consider special permits, we're supposed to consider how it looks. And it's a little bit hard based on your drawings, although I think I get, like you said, it's just a basic addition. It's going to match the rest of the house, I imagine.
Right.
So, I don't feel particularly strongly about it in this case, unless others do. I could be persuaded either way. But.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fullen, any comments or questions?
No, looks good to me too.
Great, thank you. And Mr. George, comment, question?
Nope.
Okay. Can I get to close the hearing, please?
Motion to close the hearing.
Can I get a second?
I just have one question. Do we have to do away with the variance first?
Yes, for
Oh,
public
yes.
record,
Good point.
because it was not in the filed agenda on Thursday evening.
Before we close the hearing or after we close the hearing?
I'll just make sure I make a motion if that's
Yes.
all right,
We can do that as part of the motion,
Mr. George. Okay.
right?
It could be after you close the public hearing, so you'd have to accept the withdrawal of a variance.
Okay. So we close the public hearing, I believe. Is that correct?
We made a motion and it wasn't seconded, and we didn't all
So
vote.
can
Second.
Okay.
Thank you much, Mr. George. All in favor, Ms. Cosette,
Aye.
Mr. Mulcahy,
Aye.
Mr. Fullen,
Aye.
Mr. George,
Aye.
and Lynch, aye. Ms. Cosette, throwing the baseball again.
So I make a motion to approve the withdrawal of the variance for 6 Harold Lane.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
Second,
All in favor, Ms. Cosette,
Aye.
Mr. Mulcahy,
Aye.
Mr. Fullen,
Aye.
Mr. George,
aye.
and Ms. Lynch, aye.
Okay, so I believe all that is left then is the special permit. So there are no special conditions or anything. So I make a motion to approve the special permit for 6 Harold Lane.
Thank you. Can I get a second on that, please?
Second,
Okay, all in favor, Ms. Cosette,
Aye.
Mr. Mulcahy,
Aye.
Mr. Fullen,
Aye.
Mr. George,
aye.
Ms. Lynch, aye. So moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
You too.
And it looks like we are down to, we're good, right? So
0.
yeah, that was good. Okay, so
Can I just make a comment
you certainly can.
before we close?
Sure.
I just want to personally thank Ron Rosen for his time on the board, and it was a pleasure working with him and his dedication to the town of Shrewsbury. That's all I want to state.
Second.
And, I will admit to jitters ahead of this meeting. I had a barking dog. Someone rang my doorbell for the first time in about 15 years, right as we opened the hearing, and my dog was barking and my phone was ringing. And I too want to say that 22 years of service on behalf of anyone is Herculean, frankly. And Mr. Rosen has done a great service to this board, and we all appreciate his time and effort. And just as a matter of business, I am, as an acting chair for this evening, I do believe that at the next meeting, we will have to have a formal vote on the formal construction of our board. And Mr. Cahill, can I also ask, protocol-wise, moving forward, if we elect to change chairmanship per term, at what point would that happen? What month? Would that be March?
So right now, the ZBA appointments go until, I believe, March. So whoever takes over as chair. So let's back up a second. So the remaining members of the board we're going to need to, plus the new member, whoever that is, hopefully we have one by the next meeting, we'll need a new chair. So we are looking for a new full-time board member. It's appointed position by the Board of Selectmen. The next Board of Selectmen meeting is on October 13th, Tuesday. So if someone's watching at home or knows someone who's interested, please send something of a resume, a cover letter, just stating your interest and in the position to the town manager's office, who helps to oversee the Board of Selectmen's agenda. So, and they will share that information with them. So that's the first bit of business. Secondly, hopefully the selectmen get some great candidates and can choose someone by the next meeting. And we'll have a full board again, and then the board's going to have to select a new chair. That chairmanship or womanship is going to run out in March. I think we should be doing annual votes. I know the board hasn't always been on top of that. So in April, we'll have the annual vote to see who will either carry on as chair or maybe a new chair, or however the board wants to do it. There's nothing in precedent. There's no bylaw that states the chair can or wants to continue. So the board can actually continue to vote for that person. There's no issue with that. But we should be doing annual votes for positions of chair, vice chair, and clerk every April. Planning board, I think the assignment runs out in June, so we do ours in July. So it's a little different. They do theirs in July. But ours will be April. So whoever is appointed chair will have another vote in April. So for the four of you, at least, it probably makes sense, as the longest now standing members remaining on the board, to consider amongst yourselves who would like to be chair first and foremost, and then vice chair, and then clerk. Because, well, Mary Beth is already vice chair and Paul George is, of course, already clerk. But if one of them were to obviously move up to being chair, there'd be an open position, obviously. So, but if they both remain as they are, and Lisa, if you want to consider being chair, then of course, Mary Beth and Paul George, we wouldn't need a vote for that position. So that was a long-winded answer, I know, sorry, but there are some procedural technicalities. And this will, of course, all this stuff will be so much easier when we're back in person for these meetings. So thank
Whenever
you all
that
you-
is.
Yeah, fingers crossed, maybe by April if we're all lucky. So we'll see. But anyway, so if the four of you could really put some thought into who would like to be chair. Yeah, and then you can talk to me offline. You can call me individually. That's fine, or IDIS, of course. So yeah, that's it really. But if anyone is out there in internet or TV land watching this, then by all means, and you're interested, then put your application into Board of Selectmen, and they'll view it at their next meeting.
It's great fun.
Since we're sending out kudos, I just want to thank Adis and Bernie and Kristen Rapolo, who's our unsung hero.
Yes.
Mark Sarah, another unsung hero, totally behind the scenes, helping us get through these meetings. I don't think any of us could do our jobs without the support of all of you. So I really want to thank you for that. And thank you everyone for your patience and participation in tonight's meeting. I will need to formally get a motion to close the meeting. So if I could ask Ms. Cosette to make that would be great.
I make a motion to close this meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. George. Ms. Cosette,
Aye.
all in favor. And Mr. George,
Aye.
Mr. Mulcahy,
Aye.
and Mr. Fullen.
Aye.
And kudos to you, Mr. Fullen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick, for stepping
Thanks,
out.
Patrick.
Very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hope your first experience was good. So
Yeah, I'll further on, I'll try to get a little more involved, just, getting my feet wet there. So,
Of course.
We understand.
but thank you very much.
No, you're
All right.
welcome. Remember, the resources that are offline for us between meetings are Bernie and Itis and Miss Sheehan. Everyone's available and really open to comments and help. So please take advantage of that.
I appreciate it. Thank you again.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
good night.
Thank you.
Good night.